On New Year's Eve, I prepared a whole spread, waiting for Chloe to come home. She didn't even glance at the table, just started packing a weekend bag. Her voice was cold. I can't be here with you this year. I didn't say a word, just sat there silently, eating alone. At the stroke of midnight, Chloe's first love posted on his Instagram story, right on schedule. It was a photo of her, leaning intimately against his shoulder, with a spectacular burst of fireworks lighting up the window behind them. The caption read, "She said if I wanted, she'd drop everything to be with me." I didn't fly into a rage or demand an explanation. I just calmly liked the post. My phone rang almost immediately. It was Chloe. Her voice rushed and panicked. "Don't be mad, okay? Next year, I promise I'll spend it with you." A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Too bad we don't have a next year. When Chloe finally came home, the holidays were already over. I used to meet her at the entrance to our apartment complex, but not this time. A text from her popped up. "Where are you?" I was in the middle of lunch. I casually typed back, "Just come up. I'm eating." A few minutes later, I was in the kitchen washing dishes when I heard her drag her suitcase through the door. She was out of breath. Leaning against the doorframe, she looked at my back and said, "I haven't eaten either. Can you make me something?" Any other time, I would have dropped everything to whip up whatever she wanted. But now I just spoke flatly. "I'm busy. There's a diner downstairs." She shot me an irritated look, but swallowed her anger. "Look, I know you're still pissed about New Year's, but can you not start with me right now? I'm starving." I finished the last plate and wiped my hands. "I'm not pissed." She didn't believe me. Ethan's all alone in this city. It doesn't matter what we used to be. I had to be there for him. "Right. I know," I said, my tone even. Chloe stared at me, trying to read my expression, then sighed with exhaustion. "This is what I'm talking about. It's so draining when you get like this. Can you please just stop with the silent treatment?" I met her gaze. "I'm not giving you the silent treatment, and you don't have to explain anything to me." She watched me for a long moment, then pulled a model airplane from her suitcase and handed it to me. She looked down at me, her voice flat. "Happy New Year." The model was unboxed, the original packaging crumpled. It was a stark contrast to the beautifully wrapped gifts Ethan was always showing off in his posts. I showed no hint of excitement, just a polite thanks. After that, I said nothing. A flicker of annoyance crossed her face. "That's it?" she asked, a sharp edge to her voice. "That's it," I replied coolly. Her face hardened. She held out her hand. "Where's mine?" It finally clicked. "Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot," I said with an apologetic tone that wasn't entirely sincere. "I'll just Venmo you some cash. You can buy yourself something." I pulled out my phone and sent the money. Chloe's eyes widened, as if she couldn't believe I'd forgotten. Exchanging gifts on New Year's had been our thing for years, a tradition I'd always upheld, even on the years she'd forgotten mine. The air grew thick with awkwardness. I grabbed my jacket from the couch and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" she called out, her voice sharp. "Out for drinks with friends," I said, and closed the door behind me, ignoring her shouts. Ever since we'd gotten together, I'd given up drinking because Chloe said she didn't like it. My friends all thought I was a buzzkill. They knew I was on a tight leash and eventually stopped inviting me out. Tonight, I could finally drink as much as I wanted. A few rounds in, my buddies started giving me a hard time. "We thought you'd forgotten all about us now that you're tied down," one of them griped. "Don't let it happen again." I nodded, raising my glass. "From now on, you call, I'm there. No questions asked." After getting with Chloe, I made her the center of my universe. My work, my life, everything revolved around her. I'd lost touch with my own friends, my own world. Looking back, it was a stupid choice. I glanced at my phone. Chloe had declined the Venmo payment. It was 1 a.m. by the time I got home. I flipped on the lights and saw her sitting on the couch, waiting. For a second, I thought I was seeing things. When she saw how drunk I was, she didn't get up to help me. Instead, she shot me a look of pure disappointment. "Liam, could you be any more pathetic?" she said, her voice dripping with contempt. "If you're jealous, just say it. Getting wasted like this just makes me lose respect for you." My head was spinning. I stumbled over to a dining chair and collapsed into it. The smell of whiskey on me made her wrinkle her nose in disgust. "Didn't I tell you I hate it when you drink?" she continued, her voice rising. "It's not what you think with Ethan. We're just friends now. You have no reason to get this drunk over him." I held my head in my hands, my vision blurry. "You got all wrong. I'm drinking because I'm happy." That set her off. Her voice became shrill. "That's enough. I'm trying to meet you halfway here. What more do you want? Don't push me, Liam. I'm not a saint. My patience has limits, and I can't keep bending over backwards for you." My head was throbbing, and her voice was making it worse. I rubbed my temples. "Don't get worked up. I'm just going to bed." Seeing me relent, she let out a long breath, her anger subsiding. She stood up to help me, But with the last shred of clarity I had left, I dodged her hand. I staggered into the guest room, locked the door, and ignored her knocking. I fell into a deep, heavy sleep, the most peaceful I'd had in a long time. When I woke up the next morning, Chloe was on the couch, staring silently at the TV. Her face was a dark storm cloud. I knew she was furious, but I didn't try to appease her. I just got ready and walked out the door. I went straight to my office and handed in my resignation. I'd only taken this job in the first place to be closer to Chloe's workplace. There was no need for that anymore. My boss tried to get me to stay, but my mind was made up. A few days ago, I'd gotten a response to a resume I'd sent to a company overseas. They hired me. It was a firm I'd dreamed of working for since I was a kid, an opportunity I turned down years ago for Chloe. Better late than never, I guess. After quitting, I spent the day tying up loose ends and called a friend to share the good news. He was thrilled for me, then paused. "So what about Chloe? Is she going with you?" I gave a humorless laugh. "No, it's just me. I think we're just about done." Once my work was handed off, I started getting the documents I needed for the move. Both my parents are gone, and besides a few friends, Chloe was all I had here. I used to think that wherever she was, that was my home. But I didn't have a home anymore. I was like a leaf in the wind, settling wherever I landed. When I got back to the apartment, Chloe was getting ready to go out. Her makeup was flawless, and she was wearing a pair of short shorts that showed off her long, toned legs. She was carrying a birthday cake. I knew instantly. It was Ethan's birthday. She was going to celebrate with him. She was on the phone, her voice bright with excitement. Okay, stop guessing. It wouldn't be a surprise if I told you the gift, would it? Just wait for me to get there. I couldn't hear what was said on the other end, but it made Chloe giggle, revealing the little canine teeth I rarely saw anymore. That simple, genuine smile was something she never gave me. She kept laughing until she saw me standing there. The smile vanished from her lips. For Ethan, she had an endless supply of joy. For me, she couldn't spare a single smile. Her expression soured. Without another word, she turned away in disgust, slipped on her shoes, and left, the sound of the door slamming shut behind her. I knew what was coming. The silent treatment. We'd been here before, and it was always because of Ethan. Every other time, it sent me into a panic, desperately trying to win her back, sending texts she'd ignore while I groveled. But not this time. I just went online, looked up a few recipes for British food, and started practicing in the kitchen. I figured I should start getting used to it. Lying in bed later, I saw a new post from Ethan on Instagram. "So grateful that after all this time, you're still by my side." The first comment was from Chloe's best friend, Megan. "This is so sweet. I'm so happy to see Chloe happy." I scrolled through the likes. All of Chloe's closest friends had liked it. They never approved of me. Always saw me as the guy who got in the way of her and Ethan. They were convinced that without me, she'd be happier. Reading Chloe's comment, I had to admit they might have a point. She'd written, "Everything happens for a reason." I watched their sentimental exchange without any emotion. Another one of her friends had commented, "Dude, delete this before Liam sees it. You know how he is, he'll totally lose his mind." I remember a time when I gently asked Chloe to create some distance with Ethan. Basic respect for our relationship. Her friends had called me controlling and insecure, accusing me of trying to take away her right to have friends. Chloe had just stood there, letting them say it, then later told me I needed to be more broad-minded. This time, I didn't give her friends the satisfaction of a reaction. I just closed the app, scrolled through TikTok, and fell asleep. Chloe came home late and shook me awake, her voice sharp with anger. "Liam, your girlfriend is out late at night, and you don't even bother to check on her? Megan's boyfriend calls her nonstop when she's out. And you? Not a single text. What is wrong with you?" I stared at her, genuinely confused. What was she so angry about? I used to do exactly what she was describing, and she'd snapped at me. "I'm not a tool for you to control," she'd said. "Give me some space." I can't breathe. Now that I was giving her space, she was furious that I wasn't smothering her. I had no idea what she wanted anymore. But I didn't bring up the past. I just replied calmly, "You were out with friends?" It would have been weird for me to keep calling. "You're with Ethan and the others. They're all your friends. What's there to worry about?" A look of disbelief flashed in her eyes, probably shocked that I could mention Ethan's name so calmly. It was quickly replaced by comprehension. "That Instagram post was just for old time's sake," she explained. "It didn't mean anything. Don't overthink it." I shook my head about to speak, but she cut me off. "What? Are you going to say I shouldn't have gone to his birthday party? We've known each other for 10 years. We dated for a little while, but now we're just good friends. It's a friend's birthday. Of course I was going to go." "I get it," I said, my tone understanding. "It's late. You should get some rest." Chloe fell silent, studying me intently, as if trying to figure out if I was really okay with it. After a moment, she gave up. She reached out to wrap her arms around my waist, but I subtly shifted away. Are you sleeping in the master bedroom or the guest room? I asked quietly. Surprise flickered in Chloe's eyes. She couldn't believe I'd rejected her touch, something I used to beg for. Humiliated, she stormed over to the guest room, slammed the door, and then went into the master bedroom instead. Once she was gone, I fell asleep almost instantly. It was amazing how easy it was to drift off when my mind was empty. The next morning, I got a call from one of my old college professors. He'd heard somewhere that I was moving abroad and wanted to arrange a farewell dinner. I tried to decline, but he insisted on getting some of our old classmates together for a reunion. At that point, I couldn't really say no. I shouldn't have been surprised to see Chloe there that evening. After all, she'd been one of his star pupils, and sitting right next to her was Ethan. Of course, she'd even brought him to a college reunion. When Chloe saw me, she motioned for me to come sit with them, but I pretended not to notice. They looked like the perfect couple. I wasn't about to get in the way of that. Ethan caught my eye and gave me a smug, triumphant smirk. Then he quickly wiped it away and replaced it with a look of feigned apology. Hey man, sorry to crash your reunion. I was just bored, and Chloe insisted I come along. Chloe opened her mouth to explain, then closed it. I politely raised my glass. If the professor doesn't mind, why would I? I took a sip of my drink. During dinner, my phone buzzed repeatedly with texts from Chloe. I only brought him because he had nothing else to do. Don't get the wrong idea. If it bothers you, I won't bring him next time. The last message read, let's go home together after this, okay? I cleared my throat and typed back, no thanks. You can go with Ethan. I drove. Then I put my phone away and focused on my meal, ignoring any further messages. The dinner was lively, full of laughter and old stories. At one point, our professor, his face flushed from the wine, stood up and raised his glass to me. I remember when you were my most promising student. Liam, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Your dream was always to study and work abroad. I never understood why you suddenly decided to stay here. He paused, his eyes twinkling. But look at you now. You're finally doing it. You're going to achieve your dream, and I couldn't be prouder. To you, son, I wish you the best of luck and a brilliant career. I smiled, feeling a wave of nostalgia, and drained my glass. Across the table, Chloe was frozen, her expression stunned, as if she'd just heard something impossible. Professor, what did you just say? Chloe's voice was tight. What do you mean, going abroad? The professor, happy to elaborate, replied, Oh, you didn't know? Liam's moving overseas. If things go as planned, this is our last dinner with him for a long time. It'll be tough to see him after this. He had no idea about our relationship, so he wasn't surprised that she didn't know. Chloe's eyes turned red. She shot up from her seat, grabbed my arm, and pulled me out of the restaurant. I stood with my back against the cool brick wall as she confronted me. Going abroad? She demanded, her voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and fear. What is this? Why didn't you talk to me about it? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, that, I said, my voice distant and polite, creating a chasm between us. Well, when I got the news, you were busy celebrating New Year's with Ethan. I didn't want to bother you. My words hung in the air. She looked embarrassed for a moment, then grabbed my hand again. It doesn't matter. I'm your girlfriend. You're supposed to share these things with me. I nodded with a flicker of irony. I used to tell her everything, every little detail of my day, until she'd snapped. I'm not interested in your boring updates. Stop spamming my phone with this crap. Chloe sighed, a barely audible sound. After a long silence, she asked, How long will you be gone? I thought about it, then decided to lie. About a year. I never planned on telling her at all. Tonight was an accident. That long? She exclaimed, shocked. I looked down, confirming it with my silence. The tension crackled between us. She let out another shaky breath. Let's just go home together after this, she said, her eyes shining with hope as she waited for my answer. I was about to refuse when the door opened and Ethan stumbled out. He looked at Chloe with hazy eyes, so drunk he had to lean his entire body against her for support. Chloe glanced nervously at me, trying to push him off, but he was dead weight. He's just drunk, she said, her voice frantic. We never touch like this, I swear. Her explanation made it seem even more suspicious. I just nodded understandingly. I know. Ethan mumbled into her hair, his voice slurred. Chloe, my head's spinning. Can you take me home? His boozy breath washed over her neck. Chloe didn't flinch, just looked helpless. She'd always told me she hated the smell of alcohol, but apparently that rule didn't apply to Ethan. She ignored him and looked at me. Wait for me. Okay. I'll call him an Uber, and then we can go home together. Please. Before I could answer, Ethan groaned and nuzzled his head against her shoulder, an act that seemed far too practiced and familiar. Seeing that, I spoke calmly. Don't worry about it. He clearly needs you. I can get home on my own. Chloe started to protest, but I'd already turned, said my goodbyes to the professor and my friends, and walked out of the restaurant. She tried to follow, but Ethan clung to her, holding her back. I called an Uber to take me home. I'd had a few drinks myself, and my head was starting to feel fuzzy. I leaned back against the seat and watched the city lights blur past the window. Suddenly, my own vision blurred. A few tears escaped hot against my cheeks. It was funny, really. I'd lost count of how many times Chloe had ditched me for Ethan. Over time, I just gotten used to it. I saw a couple walking hand in hand down the street, and remembered when Chloe and I used to be like that. As the car pulled away, their image faded, just like my memories of us were starting to. When I got home, a text from Chloe was waiting. I got Ethan home. Another one followed. He keeps throwing up. I don't think I can make it home tonight. I stared at the screen, a strange feeling washing over me. In all our years together, I think this was the first time she'd ever bothered to tell me her plans. I used to ask her simple things, like who she was meeting for dinner, and she'd accuse me of being nosy. Do I really have to report my every move to you? Don't you find this kind of relationship exhausting? After that fight, it took me days to win her back, and only after she made me promise to stop meddling in her life. I typed back a simple reply. Okay. She quickly sent another message. It's really just because he's sick, and it's gotten so late. That's the only reason I'm staying. Please don't get the wrong idea. My response was just as brief. Okay. She didn't text again after that. Later that night, I was the one throwing up in the bathroom. It wasn't just Ethan who had too much to drink. I was used to beer, but the whiskey I'd had tonight hit me hard. I was sick until the early hours of the morning before finally crawling back to bed. I tossed and turned all night and woke up with dark circles under my eyes. Chloe got home around noon. I was eating some Thai takeout I'd ordered. In the past, she would have lectured me about eating that junk food, but today she actually came over to the table. Is it any good? She asked. I looked up at her, surprised, and nodded. She sat down across from me, her eyes fixed on mine. You have no idea how much work it is to take care of a drunk person. The second he sobered up, I rushed straight home. Her voice was tinged with guilt, but I didn't call her on it. That must have been tough for you, I said flatly. An unnatural look crossed her face. She hadn't expected me to be so agreeable. Her smile was stiff. So, my friend Megan and her boyfriend are getting engaged tomorrow. They're having a party, and they invited me. You should come with me. I looked up from my food, surprised. She'd never invited me to an event with her friends before. They all disliked me, so she always took Ethan instead. The old me would have jumped at the chance, immediately planning my outfit. But now I just continued eating my pad thai. I think I'll pass. No need to make your friends uncomfortable. Chloe's smile faltered, her hand hovering awkwardly in the air. She pulled it back. You're my boyfriend. She won't have a problem with you being there. I looked at her. She actually seemed to mean it. I remembered a time when Megan was putting me down, saying how I'd never measure up to Ethan. I'd looked to Chloe for help, but she'd just ignored it. When I confronted her about it later, she'd said, well, she's not wrong, is she? You're my boyfriend. You should be able to handle my friends. It's pretty pathetic that you can't. She knew perfectly well that their attitude towards me was a direct reflection of her own. I gathered the empty takeout containers. I'm busy tomorrow anyway. Maybe you should ask someone else. Chloe stared at me in disbelief. She never imagined I'd turn her down so bluntly, let alone suggest she take someone else. I wasn't lying. I really was busy. There were still so many things to sort out for my move. The hope in her eyes died, and her smile disappeared completely. What are you doing tomorrow? She asked, a nervous edge to her voice. Maybe I can come with you. Oh, I have to go sort out some paperwork for my move abroad, I explained calmly. I really can't miss it. It's your friend's engagement party. You should be there. I'll be fine on my own. Her face fell. So, if you're not going, I guess I'll take Ethan, she asked, testing me. In the past, just hearing his name would have set me off. Now I just smiled. Sure, why not? She searched my face for any sign of jealousy, but found nothing. Liam, why aren't you jealous at all? She asked, frustrated. I looked at her, finding her question odd. Didn't she used to hate it when I was jealous? What is there to be jealous of? I said, he's your good friend, and he's friend with Megan. It makes perfect sense for you to take him. She opened her mouth to say something, then closed it. Finally, she said, well then, let me drive you to your appointment tomorrow morning. I thought about it. My head still felt a bit foggy, and I didn't feel like driving. I didn't refuse. Seeing me agree, she reached for my hand, but I pulled away. She looked confused and annoyed. I didn't sleep well last night, I explained. I'm going to take a nap. You should get some rest, too. Without waiting for her reaction, I walked into the bedroom and closed the door. The next morning, Chloe was up early and had already made breakfast. After we ate, she grabbed her car keys to drive me. Sitting in her passenger seat felt strange. It had been a very, very long time. I remember a time, it was pouring rain, and I didn't have an umbrella. I asked if she could pick me up, and she'd sighed with annoyance. You're a grown man, Liam. A little rain won't kill you. Later that day, I saw on Ethan's Instagram story that she'd driven across town to pick him up. I bought my own car after that and never rode with her again. Today, she put on music she knew I liked and tried to make small talk. I just smiled and went along with it. We hadn't been driving long when her phone rang. It was Ethan. Chloe panicked, constantly glancing at me. Go ahead, answer it, I said calmly. Ethan's voice filled the car. Hey, Chloe, I'm all ready. Come pick me up. You should just get a ride share, she said quickly. I was genuinely surprised. Chloe was actually turning Ethan down. That was a first. Ethan was clearly surprised too, but he pressed on. You know how it is, Chloe. It's impossible to get a car out here. Besides, you always pick me up. He added, if you don't come get me, I'll have to walk. Chloe hesitated. In the past, I would have been kicked out of the car by now. Her usual line was, it's easy to get a cab from here in the city center. Ethan's place is out of the way, so I have to go get him. You can find your own way. I saw the indecision on her face and made it easy for her. Go pick him up. You can just drop me at the next corner. But what about you? She said, flustered. No, I should just take you first. I smiled. I'll get an Uber. It's fine. Just pull over here. I pointed to the side of the road up ahead. She hesitated for a second, then pulled the car over. As I got out, she called after me. I'll be home early tonight. I nodded. Are you sure you could get a ride here? She asked, looking worried. If not, I can just tell him no. I looked back at her. It's fine. You should go. You don't want to be late. Her car sped off, leaving a trail of exhaust. I got my paperwork done and checked the date on my phone. 10 days. In 10 days, I'd be gone. Back home, I was scrolling through my phone when I saw a TikTok from the engagement party. In the video, Megan and her fiancé were kissing passionately while the crowd started chanting for Chloe and Ethan to do the same. Megan laughed and said to Chloe, your turn next? Chloe, you got a great guy right there beside you. Don't let him get away. She glanced meaningfully at Ethan, who just smiled and nodded. In the video, Chloe just looked distracted and uncomfortable. Just then, a text came through from her. Liam, did you see that video? They were just messing around. It was a joke. Don't be mad. I replied, saw it. It was just a joke. I'm not mad. She didn't text back after that, and she didn't come home early. I didn't wait up for her. I just ate dinner and went to bed. Chloe came home around noon the next day. I didn't ask where she'd been. I was sitting on the couch and just said, there's food on the table. She was taking off her shoes at the door and offered an explanation. Everyone was having such a good time last night. They wouldn't let me leave. I ended up just getting a hotel room. She used to stay out all night often, but she'd never once explained herself. I just grunted in acknowledgement and kept watching TV. She came and sat on the couch, rubbing her temples. When exactly are you planning to leave? Next Saturday, I said. Tickets already booked. A heavy silence fell between us. Chloe was the one to break it. Liam, I think we need to talk, she said, her voice strained. I can't live like this anymore. I looked at her, confused. What's wrong? Isn't this better? This is what she always wanted, wasn't it? For me to be more understanding, to give her space. Now that she wasn't happy. She frowned. Is this because of Ethan? I didn't say anything. She bit her lip. If you have a problem with my friendship with Ethan, I'll end it. I'll do it for you. Her voice was pleading. But you have to stop being like this. So distant and cold. Please. She looked at me with desperation and hope, as if she'd just made some monumental sacrifice. I spoke slowly. You're overthinking it. I honestly don't mind anymore. Who your friends are is your business. I don't have any right to interfere. It was ironic, though. I never thought she would offer to cut him off so easily. I'd argued with her, threatened to break up with her, and she'd never once considered ending her friendship with him. She stared at me, stunned. I'm making a huge compromise here. If you don't believe me, I'll call him right now. She pulled out her phone, dialed Ethan's number, and put it on speaker, holding it right in front of me. Ethan's voice came through the speaker, cheerful and familiar. Hey, Chloe. What's up? Miss me already? Ethan's casual words made Chloe's face flush with embarrassment and panic. Stop it, Ethan. Don't joke like that, she said sharply. He seemed taken aback by her tone. This was probably how they always talked in private. He paused, and she continued. Ethan, I think we should talk less from now on. I have a boyfriend. He sounded like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Chloe, what are you saying? Say that again. She took a deep breath. I said, we need to stop talking so much. Got it. Her voice was louder now. A hint of understanding crept into his voice. I get it. Is your controlling boyfriend jealous again? Just ignore him. The guy's so insecure. He probably doesn't have any friends of his own, so he's jealous of ours. With every word Ethan spoke, Chloe's face grew darker. I could only imagine what they said about me behind my back. That's enough, she snapped, her voice shrill. You need to remember your place. Liam is my boyfriend, and you have no right to talk about him like that. Don't contact me again. Let's just leave it at that. She hung up, ignoring his protests. Her phone started ringing again immediately, but she ignored it, looking at me with a desperate, almost pathetic expression. See? It's done. We can go back to how things were. I'll be good. I'll wait at home for you to come back from your trip, I promise. She held up 3 fingers as if swearing an oath. I was stunned. I had planned to break up with her the day I left, but it looked like I had to do it now. I opened my mouth. I don't think you'll need to wait for me. Before I could finish, she pressed her fingers against my lips. I looked at her. Her eyes were red, welling up with tears. A soft dripping sound hit the floor. Chloe's tears were spilling over, running down her cheeks. The old me would have been heartbroken, wiping them away. But this time I just watched. So, someone like Chloe could cry over me after all. Liam, she choked out, her eyes locked on mine. Let me go with you. I'll go abroad with you. I knew what that meant for her, how big of a decision it was. Her family, her friends, her entire life was here. Her career was taking off. Going with me meant giving all of that up. I turned my head away. I thought I was past feeling anything, but hearing those words, why did my heart still ache so much? I'm sorry, Chloe, I said, the words heavy in my mouth. I can't take you with me. She threw her arms around me, her tears soaking through my shirt. Liam, I'll give up everything here for you. I want you. Please, take me with you. I'm a soft person, but this time, I pushed her away. Chloe, let's break up, I said. We're from 2 different worlds. I'm tired now. I just want to go back to my own. Her tears flowed freely now, her voice hoarse. No, I don't agree. As long as I don't agree, we're not broken up. A bitter laugh escaped me. You should be happy. You never wanted to share your life with me. You hated me being involved. Well, starting today, you're free. No one's going to bother you anymore. She grabbed my shoulders, pleading. I promised. This New Year's, I'm going to spend it with you. I gently removed her hands. Too bad, I said with a sad smile. We don't have a next year. Chloe broke down completely, sobbing and clinging to me, refusing to accept the breakup, insisting she would go with me. I couldn't fight her anymore, so I finally gave in and said yes. She hugged me tightly, filled with the joy of someone who thought they'd lost everything and gotten it back. I let myself feel that one last embrace. One morning, a few days later, I quietly packed my bags. I opened the bedroom door one last time and looked at Chloe, still fast asleep. Goodbye, I whispered. I took one final look around the apartment that had been our home. This would be the last time I ever saw it. I was planning to settle down in my new country for good. I took a cab to the airport and sat waiting for my flight to board. My phone buzzed incessantly with messages from Chloe. Where are you? Why aren't you answering me? The last one read, I'm at the airport. Where are you? I need to see you. I looked at the messages, a mist clouding my eyes. I didn't reply. I put my phone away. I didn't have the courage to see her one last time. Despite everything, she was the person I had once loved with all my heart. The message alerts kept coming, but I ignored them. I sighed and headed for the gate. A voice cut through the airport noise, shouting my name. Liam, you can't leave without me. It was Chloe, her voice raw and desperate, as if she'd used every last bit of her strength. My back went rigid, but I didn't turn around. I kept walking straight through the boarding gate. I pulled out my phone and looked at one last message from her. Liam, you lied to me. A sad smile touched my lips as I typed my final reply. You've lied to me so many times. I guess it was my turn. I thought about all the times she'd lied, telling me it was just a casual get-together with friends. No, Ethan. Only for me to find out later. I remembered the sharp pain in my chest every time I discovered a new lie. I wondered if she felt that same pain now. When I landed, someone from the company was there to pick me up. They took me to a small but fully furnished apartment. I didn't reply to any more of Chloe's messages. I blocked her number. There was no point in keeping in touch. She wasn't going to be a part of my new life. A year passed. I slowly got used to life in a new country and made a lot of new friends. I had finally achieved my childhood dream. But my adult dream, the one where I married Chloe and we built a family together, was gone for good. One day at work, a call came through from an unknown number. It was from the States. I knew it was her, but I answered anyway. Her voice on the other end was choked with sobs, like she could barely breathe. It wasn't just for a year, was it? She asked, her voice trembling. Why did you lie to me? I paused for a moment, then said calmly, that's right. I'm not coming back. The line went dead. That call severed the last thread connecting me to Chloe. I looked out my office window at the towering skyscrapers of the city. From now on, Chloe and I were 2 parallel lines, never meant to cross again.